Alrighty, kindergarten, we are working on making our stories readable. Remember how we're really working on making our stories readable?
Yeah.
Like our anchor chart over there? Yeah. Who can tell me one way that we are making our stories readable? Taya. Bingo, correcto. 2 finger spaces. Lucy, what's another way? A little bit of words or a lot of letters and a lot of words. We're practicing stretching out our words. So I want to give you a new tool today for writing, and it's a tool that teachers use. So you're going to get to be your own teacher today. But first I want to show you these pictures. What are these people doing in these pictures?
Lifting a box.
Lifting a box. This person's lifting a big box. What's this person doing?
Lifting a weight.
Lifting a heavy weight over their heads. What's this person doing?
He's lifting a rock.
Lifting a heavy rock over his head. So today, you are going to need to use tools kind of like this. These people are using tools to give them heavy lifting, and you are going to use a tool to use your writing muscles. Can everybody show me your writing muscles? Because in kindergarten, we are strong writers. Just like these heavy lifters, we are strong writers. So today I want to introduce you, which means tell you about your new teacher checklist. This checklist is used to make our stories even better. We've been practicing reading our stories over and over and over again, like rereading. You know how we say our sentence over and over again to make sure it makes sense?
Yes.
You know how we do that?
Yes.
Oh, I still can't hear you. Do you remember?
Yes.
So we are going to use this checklist to help us today. Before we introduce this checklist, though, who can tell me some ways, Patrick, that some important people might use a checklist? Does anyone know what a checklist is? Lucy, when do we ever use a checklist? When you're working, like an airline person, somebody who works on an airplane, will use a checklist to make sure that they checked the plane and all the important things on a plane. A teacher uses a checklist to make sure all of her students are doing exactly what they should be doing. And guess what? The 6th grade writers use a checklist to make their writing even better. So you guys have an important job today. So this is when you're going to need your big reading muscles. Okay? We're just going to talk about these first 3 parts right here on your checklist. We're not going to do the whole thing today, but do you see this first picture here?
Yes.
This is the first thing that we're going to talk about today. And when you look at your story, after you're finished writing the first page, look here, and this says, I told, which is the lips. I drew, did you draw a picture?
Yeah.
And wrote a story. So did you say your story out loud? Did you draw a picture? And did you write? So now that I finished my story, I'm going to look here and I'm going to say, did I tell my story out loud? One day I went to the park. Okay, I'm giving myself a check in my head. Okay, I'm not going to make a check mark on the paper. I'm just using the check mark in my head. Did I draw a picture like this picture here? Check. I'm giving myself a check in my head. Did I write on every page? I wrote on this page. I wrote on this page. Did I do that part?
No.
No, and I use my checklist to remind me, oh yeah, I have to fill in all 3 pages. So then I would go back and add my last page. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then, once I'm done making sure that I told Drew and wrote a story, I'm going to go back to this one. And this one says, I have a page that shows what happened first. Because remember, we're working on a beginning, a middle, and an end. So now I'm going to go back to my story and I'm going to say, do I have a page that tells me what happened first? One day, I went to the park. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, but maybe I'll go back and add the word first in my story. First, I went to the park. And that's a good way to show what you did at the beginning. So I sure did, so I'm going to make a mental check in my head. I'm going to check off, yep, I have a page for what I did first. Now the last one that we're going to work on today, I have a page that shows what happened last. Now, I have a page what happened first. I have a page for the middle. But do I have a page that has what happened last yet? So as a writer, what would I go back and do? I would go back and add the last page. Once I add the last page, then I can give myself a check mark in my head. Do you see how we're using this checklist today? So you are not putting check marks on this page. You're just putting a mental check in your head. So let's review. I told Drew and wrote a whole story. I have a page for what happened first. And I have a page for what happened last. And then tomorrow we're going to work on the rest of these. Okay, we're going to finish. We're going to go piece by piece by piece. Okay, so everybody's going to get this new tool today, and you're going to put this in your folder. And right now we're going to practice how to make your story that you worked on last week match what we have up here. So we're going to practice using your check mark right now. Okay? Capiche?
Capiche.
Alrighty, so let me get your writing folders.